Hi, everybody. I'm Paula Ludwig with the Atlantic Institute. The Atlantic Institute is a small nonprofit that promotes positive dialogue between different faiths, cultures, religions, getting to know your next door neighbor. Our vision is of a peaceful world. I am going to show you a short 2-minute video about the Atlantic Institute while we wait for just those last few minute people to get in. And then I'll turn this over to Eamon, our wonderful instructor for today. And this is his 3rd year doing this, and I want to thank him as always. And he does a really, really good job and always makes very interesting and delightful desserts. If you want to see the other ones he's made, you can go to our Atlantic Institute SC YouTube channel, and I'll put that in the message board as well. There are 2 recordings out there already from when he has made us desserts. So, all right, I'm gonna play this video now. Share screen, big green button. Oops. And
The Atlantic Institute is a nonprofit organization dedicated to promoting harmonious coexistence between peoples of various cultures, faiths, and backgrounds. We seek this goal through peaceful dialogue, education initiatives, and community organization. Our dialogue events bring together experts, community and faith leaders, and knowledge seekers to address social issues that affect us all. We feel dialogue is the most important element in peaceful coexistence, so we try and maintain several panel discussions, TED Talk events, and book clubs throughout the year. These events touch on social issues, race relations, and cultural understanding and are a mainstay of our programming. The Atlantic Institute's education events are extremely important to our mission of understanding. We want to promote socially forward critical thinking to students of all ages. To that end, we have developed programs that seek to grow the creative spirit of students and help them think about their communities and the world around them. Our Future Leaders of Dialogue event brings together nominated elite students to learn from each other as well as political and business leaders. Our art and essay contest gives students a theme about important societal issues and allows them to create wonderful works of art and writing while steering their minds towards improving their world. We are always seeking ways to educate youths and adults in order to make a peaceful world for all of us. Our community events are designed to transform neighbors into friends and groups of people into a community. By associating with other nonprofits or by our own initiative, we are always trying to discover new avenues to improve our neighborhoods, places of worship, and community centers. We host cooking demonstrations of food from other cultures, work with various nonprofits to help elevate the work of others, and try to find a way to make the lives of those who are disenfranchised or marginalized better. Building a more peaceful world starts in our backyards, so we are dedicated to improving our communities and associations. The Atlantic Institute is always seeking like-minded volunteers and collaborators. If you would like to learn more, find volunteer opportunities, or just want to chat with our staff, please visit our website at www.atlanticinstitutesc.org or follow us on Facebook. We will never run out of fun, educational, peaceful events, so come join us to help make this world a better place full of understanding and unity.
all right. Thank you, everyone. So I am now going to turn this over to Eamon. If you're wondering what we're making, if you didn't already know, see the picture behind me. He's going to make us those. I don't know about you all, but I'm really looking forward to it, and I want to go to his house and sample. All right, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, my name is Eamon, and I'll be your instructor today. I'm going to be making a Pickin cupcake, which is a classic Southern dessert. Basically, it's like an orange cake with kind of a pineapple frosting.
And I am his mom, and I will be his assistant for the day. He's the chef and the baker in the family. Like I said, I'm assisting. If you can't hear him or if the lighting's weird, I'm going to try to monitor the chat and hold the camera in a way that you'll be able to see everything. But let me know if I need to switch things up or if you need something repeated.
All right. So to begin with, we're going to be making the cake. So to make the cake, you need one 18-ounce box of yellow cake mix. Yeah. And you can always like make your own cake mix. It's just, I guess, like the more traditional way is using the like pre-made mix. All right. Okay.
And I see that the ingredients have been posted in the chat, so hopefully that'll be helpful. As Eamon's getting the cake mix out. And just to give you all a little background about this recipe was his Nana's recipe, his dad's mom. Sadly, she passed before Eamon got to meet her. So this is kind of one of the ways that, he kind of connects with his grandmother that he never met, is through some of her recipes. She was a traveling nurse, or a home care nurse, I guess I should say. And this was a recipe that one of her patients gave her, an older woman, I believe. And so she kind of made it her own, and Eamon's kind of making it his own too.
All right, now that we have the cake mix here, we're going to get 11 ounces of mandarin oranges in the juice. So like either from a can or a bottle. And so it's gonna be like the whole orange slices, not just like orange juice or something. So like this.
So here's an example. This is a Dole mandarin oranges. This is 23.5 ounces. We've used half of it, so we've kind of got the exact amount right now.
So I'm just pour this all in here. All right, next you're gonna put in 3 eggs.
Careful.
3 eggs. Careful not to get any shell in there. Also, you're going to want to preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not sure what that is in Celsius. All right, finally for the cake mix, you're going to add half a cup of vegetable oil.
Yeah, so there's a question about the oranges. Yes, we poured the mandarin oranges, the whole, well, they're not whole mandarin oranges, but it's the whole segments of mandarin oranges in, and it's important to have the juice in there as well.
All right, now you can use like an electric mixer or something. I prefer to do it by hand with like a fork. So I'm just gonna take this and mix it all together until it's all mixed together, making sure there isn't any unmixed cake mix. And make sure to scrape the sides of the bowl to make sure you get it all in there.
I think we're good with the chat. And so as Eamon's mixing, he's making these as cupcakes. I believe his grandmother generally used to make this as a cake. So you can do either, which, whatever feels right for you at the time.
And the reason I'm making cupcakes and not a whole cake is just because it looks better because you're able to pipe the icing on there. So it's more decorative.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure you check the bottom of the bowl to make sure there isn't anything left. still a little bit left. Yeah.
And again, you know, as far as the variations, you know, Eamon left the mandarin orange segments whole, but if you know, prefer them to be smaller, you could probably also kind of mash them up as you're mixing. So again, it's just a preference.
All right, so now once you're done mixing, it's gonna look like a nice kind of yellowish orange. So that's basically it for the cake mix. So now you're gonna take your muffin tin.
I don't know if you want to okay. So he's going to get the muffin tin, and you could either, you know, grease the muffin tins if you want, or we're going to go ahead and use the cupcake liners.
And then if you're gonna make a cake, just use like a 9-inch cake pan. Make sure to grease it well. And now this recipe makes about 24 cupcakes. I'm just going to do it in 2 batches. So now just take like a spoon or like a small ladle or something and just transfer the mix from the bowl into the muffin tin or the cupcake tin.
Yes, that's a good point. I see in the chat someone wrote that they find cupcakes easier because sometimes you might get some undercooked center of a larger cake. So that is one of the benefits of the cupcakes, and I think they cook a little bit quicker.
And when putting the dough into the tin or the batter into the tin, make sure to fill each little
Cupcake liner?
Yeah.
To what level?
About 3/4 of the way.
So you're going to fill the cupcake liners about 3/4 of the way full, and you definitely want to make sure they're uniform so that they're all baking at the same amount. And family legend has it that this recipe traveled to someone who cooked for one of the presidents, I believe maybe when Bill Clinton was in office, and that a kind of a fancier version of this might have been baked at the White House. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that's kind of the family legend. So the baking and cooking gene kind of skipped me. Now my mom, Eamon's Mima, who I believe might be on this Zoom, she's a baker, and his Nana was. So Eamon gets it from both grandmothers, but yeah, that skipped me. And you can see there's a lot of fruit, you know, going in these cupcake liners, so that helps keep it moist. So that's really good.
So you see in this one, I accidentally put a bit too much in. You can just scoop it out. It's a good part of making cupcakes.
Yeah, cupcakes are pretty forgiving. And again, we were talking about the kinds of cakes. Eamon used a super moist yellow cake for this recipe. If you want to, make some variations, you could also do something like this pineapple supreme Duncan Hines. Since this has there's a lot of fruit in this recipe, you can alter it a little bit if you want to.
All right, so that looks pretty good. Oops.
What are you looking for? Oh, it's in here. I'll take care of it.
So my oven is not preheated yet. I'm just gonna put this aside for now and start working on the topping.
And because we, like most of the cooking shows, oh, there goes the preheating. We can go ahead and put those cupcakes in.
So these are gonna bake for 21 minutes.
And so here's Eamon putting in the cupcakes. So someone wrote the doctored cake mix recipes are useful and delicious. There are a lot of variations. You made a lemon raspberry yogurt cake. Oh, that sounds really good. So yeah, those fruit, kind of cakes are really great, especially, with these summer months. It's like a little bit lighter than some of like the heavier like chocolate and things like that.
Yeah, flavor profiles are very important when considering the season that you're in. All right, so for the topping, we're going to be using Cool Whip. Again, you can just make your own whipped cream. It's not difficult, but it's more, I guess, traditional. And then, let's see, 9 ounces of crushed pineapple and 3.4 ounces of vanilla pudding mix. All right, so that was the Cool Whip. Now I'm going to put in the vanilla pudding mix.
And I believe the recipe calls for 3.4 ounces?
Yep, 3.4.
Yeah, which seems like a weird amount, but the pudding containers, they do have them in exactly that size. So we just used the Kroger brand vanilla pudding, but yeah, there's a lot of different variations.
Finally, the crushed pineapple.
And how many ounces?
9 ounces.
And are we draining it or are we using juice too?
Yeah, I need to use the juice in this as well. Okay, gotta use a spoon because it's not coming out. again, I'm just going to use a fork to mix this together. And when you're mixing this together, you have to make sure to mix it really well, because otherwise the pudding mix kind of stays grainy. So you have to make sure it's nice and smooth. And again, remember to scrape the sides of the bowl to make sure everything's mixed together. And when you're done, you should get kind of a yellowish white color. I don't know if you can see that.
And as Eamon's mixing, I'm wondering if I mixed up the story about his grandmother's recipe. I said she might have gotten it from a patient that she worked with, but now I'm thinking it was the opposite, that she passed on this recipe to a patient whose, right, and her son, the patient's son, was a chef to one of the presidents, and that's how it made its way supposedly to the White House kitchen. So unfortunately, my husband's out of town, or he could tell exactly how the story goes, but I'm just doing the best I can to remember.
All right, this should be about good. You can usually tell when it's all mixed together because, before you could hear the grains scraping against the side of the bowl, but now it's a lot more smooth. All right.
And so, could this also be done with a mixer if they wanted?
Yeah, I just like mixing it by hand. All right, so now we have this. You're going to get a piping bag.
Okay. So we have a piping bag, which you could get these at Michael's, in the baking section. You could get them at, I'm sure grocery stores have piping bags in, the baking section. We have our magical cupcakes that are already ready and cooled.
TV Magic.
Yeah, TV Magic cupcakes.
And these are the ones I used the pineapple cake mix on, just to see what would happen. All right, so.
Oh, do you want it to?
We'll see. So usually, because of the crushed pineapple in the topping, using a tip to pipe it, the pineapple's usually a bit too big. I'm gonna try it, but if not, you can just use the bag itself.
So we have a variety of tips, and maybe this one. All right.
This is the biggest tip that we have, I think. See if it works.
And as Eamon was saying, if not, we can just use the hole in the bag.
So if you've never used a piping bag before, you just cut a little bit of the tip off, and you just put the tip in here, and then you just spoon the topping into the opening here.
So Eamon was talking about the piping bags. With some of the smaller piping tips, you could, use the fancy attachments with the nozzles that screw in and stuff. But we're using one of the big tips, and we're not, getting super fancy.
All right, so continuation on how to use the piping bag. Once you put the stuff in there, you gotta kind of squeeze it down to the bottom, and, twist the top off so nothing comes out the wrong end. All right, so I hope this works.
Yeah,
Is it?
pineapple's already getting stuck. Oh, there we go. Yeah, kind of looks nice.
It's a work in progress.
That's better. Oh, wait. Oh, it's stuck again. Okay, that's good. Come on.
Well, we can cut it off if it's too difficult. And of course, you can always use the. There's a lot of pineapple in that one. You know, you can always just spoon it on too if that's preferable. You gonna cut this off? You want to hold something?
Something to do with making the hole too big.
Yeah. Well, you could just get another piping bag.
Yeah, okay.
All right, we're gonna do some emergency surgery here and just make the hole in the piping bag a little bit bigger. We're getting a little bit creative here,
Just gonna put this back in the bowl.
and we'll just start with another piping bag.
Very messy.
Don't worry about it. Well, all right. Well, that's what we get for trying to be fancy with the piping bags. Doesn't really work too well when you've got fruit in the icing. All right, you gonna cut it off and then. All right, round two.
They want to know if you store the cupcakes in the refrigerator after they're done.
You probably should, just to make sure the icing holds together. You don't have to though.
Yeah, yeah, as Eamon was saying, I mean, Cool Whip, you know, it kind of, especially like if it's warmer, it might kind of start to separate if you're not putting it in the refrigerator. So basically just with the type of icing we're using, I would say, yeah. Okay.
All right. So now that there's no tip on it, you can just kind of go in the center and keep pressing until it expands the edges of the cupcake like that. That's the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, with the big chunks of fruit, I think this method definitely works a little bit better than the tips, even if you have a big tip. But yeah, with these having fruit in them and Cool Whip, you know, they're definitely kind of like a refreshing, you know, lighter summer treat than like I love buttercream, but that's really heavy, and this definitely with all the fruit has just a lighter kind of feel and profile.
And if you have any extra,
I mean, just want to like kind of
Yeah.
fill it in.
if you have any extra, you can just add some more.
They want to know if the frosting would be stiffer and easier to spread if you didn't use all of the juice from the pineapple.
Probably not, because the vanilla pudding mix kind of counteracts the liquidness of the pineapple juice.
I mean, and I don't know, even if you were just using Cool Whip, I mean, Cool Whip is pretty malleable, it spreads quite a bit, especially like if you're using like the creamy Cool Whip.
Plus the pineapple juice adds more flavor.
Yeah, and it kind of goes with like the fruit that's in the cupcake.
So I have a question. Why the name Pickin?
I honestly have no idea.
I'm not sure either. I don't remember that part of the story from my mother-in-law's recipes. I'm thinking because when you think of like a traditional like Southern like pig picking event where there is like a roast pig, and that this might have been something that would have been served at it like as a dessert, a dessert there. So
that would complement pork, because this kind of fruit would complement pork. I get it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was more like not so much pig picking to describe the cupcake itself, but maybe the event at what they would have been served at. Sorry, we've got a little gnat flying around here.
They want to know if the frosting batch will cover 24 cupcakes.
Let's see, how many do we have here? We've got 8, about 16. I don't know if it would cover, I mean, well, we've been putting this on a little bit heavy because we've got about 19 cupcakes right here.
And
I guess
I ate a few, so
you ate a few.
I ate a few earlier, so there were more.
Yeah, and actually we had gotten into the Cool Whip a little bit earlier too. So and as you can see, we're applying some of the icing a little bit heavy. So I think it would cover, one batch would cover 24 cupcakes. But if you're a person who likes a lot of icing on the cupcakes, maybe you would want to do like a batch and a half of the frosting.
And they want to know if you need to wait for the cupcakes to cool before applying topping.
Absolutely.
Yes. So these cupcakes we had actually made last night, or Eamon made last night, and so they were definitely cooled off. The cupcakes you saw him mixing are still in the oven, but yeah, with Cool Whip, really any icing, but especially Cool Whip, you definitely want your cupcakes to be cool before you apply your icing or frosting or Cool Whip or whatever, because it's just going to melt.
All right, and ta-da.
And yeah, these are the Southern tradition pig picking cupcakes. Let's see. But,
Awesome. These look really good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're both going to be enjoying some in just a minute. They do look really good.
I'm
And
enjoying it now.
I'm from Michigan, and I think we call it something different, but I don't remember what. So when you guys told me pig picking, I wasn't thinking of this recipe because, of course, like we discussed, the name is a really weird for a cupcake or even a cake. So,
Yeah.
but I have tried this before, I believe, in my youth, so to speak, and they are very, very good. And it makes me want to make a batch myself right now. Does anybody else have any other questions for our instructors today?
Let's see, so you can See, Eamon. Okay. All right. Well, like I said, Eamon really enjoys baking and cooking and trying out different recipes. And so he's happy to get to share his Nana's recipe with everybody.
So I want to thank you guys. Eamon, Marty, thank you.
Yeah.
Everyone, I just put in there, oh, did I put the message out there for everyone? I thought so. Yeah. This video will be available next week on our Atlantic Institute SC YouTube channel. So if you want to follow along, on the video, I know that always helps me to be able to pause and go on as needed. Also, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, anytime we put a new video out there, it'll let you know. We put stuff out there at least twice a month, if not more. Like I said, Eamon has made 2 other glorious desserts. Eamon, do you remember what those desserts were?
Yes, 2 years ago I made a Yule log, which
Oh,
is
yes.
a winter flavor because it was like a chocolate cake with blackberry jam. And then last year I made a gingerbread trifle.
Yes. So yes, he has made wonderful desserts the past 2 years. So his videos are out there on our YouTube channel. You can watch him do it again. And unfortunately, he is not going to go to school to be a chef, which is sad in a way. But what he is going to do is going to be very good for the public, and I appreciate that. But I hope you continue to do this as a hobby or
I will, yeah.
Yes, awesome. And he's also agreed to do one for us next year, so be on the lookout for that. And he hasn't told me what he's going to do yet. He might not have decided yet, but yes, thank you again, everyone. I am going to stop the recording now, and if you have any questions, you can continue to ask.
The cupcakes I put in the oven are not ready now if you want to see them.
Oh.